Now, one thing I did not like, and we can go in depth on this, and a lot of people have talked about this, Mother's Basement, a lot of others, is how the Crunchyroll Awards went, which was really garbage. Now, you may say, so, well, why was it? Soul 11 was such a great show. Okay, here's the misconception to that point. Yes, it's a great show. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Most people are thinking that the awards went by season 2. No, the Crunchyroll Awards was prior to season 2. So you're talking about a season 1 situation when they were voting for this. And to go through the voting process that they did, it was not the same they did in years past. I mean, they completely dropped the ball on this. Why did they do this? You know, basically, I guess to score points to the situation. Right now, I believe we're about to start a new anime war as far as between streaming. When you got Netflix, Amazon, and Disney, yes, I said Disney also, that they're looking at anime for their sites, and they're trying to bid in for as much as they can. They're starting to become a competitor. And then, you know, you have High Dive on the side to the point, and Retro Crush also, which are, you know, not into that big category, but, you know, hopefully High Dive will move up because, you know, they got the AMC money to that point, and AMC's got to ramp it up a little bit. But, you know, you have the points that Crunchyroll is pushing what's popular out there, which that's okay, you know, to that point, but you're missing out the point of what is, you know, what you should be awarding a good anime. Now, for myself, and I'll put this to that perspective, the thing that most people have missed out on, but still was a popular series, was Free Ren. Free Ren was an excellent anime. Why? Why was it an excellent anime? Because it was not the standard conventional anime that you would normally get. This is a fantasy series that just literally was the journey itself. You know, this is like, you know, Lord of the Rings, you know, it's the journey. You know, you have to think to the journey in itself. What happens during that journey, you know, the action, stuff like that, is just part of it. But most of this concentrated on an elf, which, you know, a lot of people are saying this is the best interpretation of elfdom in any anime series. Why? Because it kind of puts into the perspective of the age of the elf. To that perspective, we're not looking to sexualize the situation. We're, you know, to make, you know, the way you always see, like, the elf gets saved and falls in love with the guy and they become part of a harem. And no, it's none of that. This is about an elf who was part of a group that they were heroes. And the time passes. One thing with an elf, they have a long lifespan. Most of the people that she was with are dying off one by one by one. And you see it in this series. And she's taking the walk back to the places she was before, and those places have changed. The places where she has saved, where they've put up statues of the heroes to that point. And her response is, you know, she's just looking into the situation and learning what she can as far as magic and consideration. She takes on an apprentice. And she continues with on, and another one joins them. You know, becomes another group, and they're going, you know, to that point, back up to that area where she battled a demon lord before. You know, we're getting another season of this. This is a good series to watch for itself, for the journey. It's well animated. Of course, it's beautifully animated to that point. Understand, you know, the Soul Leveling, season 2, well animated than season 1. Yeah, obviously, but that wasn't part of that award ceremony. And there were many others straight on there that, you know, that was left out to the point. Another one was Don Da Don Don. Don Da Don Don, Crunchyroll did them bad. Even though it did very well on Netflix, it did very well, somewhat well on Crunchyroll and Hulu. But Crunchyroll, who was the main architect of the licensing decided not to really advertise this series. As far as the controversial part of it, which was out there, and I think that's what helped a lot of this, because for the reason is the Nelson's data metric shows that they were the most watched anime series for 18 to 49 years, according to the data. Now, we don't have data on some of the others, but they do show up in the top 60 versus broadcast television and streaming. Anime Corner put this out. You look at the point, and the data spans from September 15th, 2024 to April 6th, 2025, and it ranked 58 out of 100, attracting 2.6 million. That's according, and this is on Variety as well. There is a Variety article on this as well, and it shows you the entire length of who's there on there. In fact, what was it? Arcane scored just a little bit above. Down to the Down was below Arcane, Netflix's Arcane. But you can imagine, what if Crunchyroll actually advertised this properly? I mean, I love the animation on this. It is really well done. The music score is a good beat. We said this before on one of the other Otaku Thursdays, is that Mashal and Dandadan, last year had the two best as far as soundtracks to their series, because they were hip, they were upbeat and all that. Similarly, like when you get Tank from the Cowboy Bebop, that jazzy type sound that you get out about Cowboy Bebop, which you're hearing somewhat like a little bit on Lazarus right now. That's currently going on, which I got to catch up on Lazarus. But that's not the only series that they just really didn't push. Down. The Apothecary Diaries, which I haven't even started season 1 yet. That's another one that's, put to that point, that it is a good series if you're into that type of series. It's like one of the other YouTubers were saying, he said, not everyone's going to be into everything. Not everything is going to be top notch. In other words, it's not going to be a blockbuster. If that's how you want to call it, to that point. They're all not going to be a Solo Leveling, a Demon Slayer. They're not all going to be into that category.
If you like this content, be sure to check out the rest of this video on Otaku Thursday. Every week on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Rumble. And don't forget to comment, like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time!